ancestors. Hi guys, this is Baby Doll Soaps and Thing. What I want to talk about today is a NewsMax reporter by the name of Rob Finnerty. Rob Finnerty was controversial on December 12, 2022 when he went live on NewsMax. He was talking about taking his daughter to the American Girl doll store. For those who have daughters, or for those who grew up in my era, you know what the American Girl dolls were. It's a big deal to a lot of girls. A lot of them wanted an American Girl doll store. Each doll had a background story, and then of course there are American Girls today. Personalized dolls, they even had it back then where you can personalize your doll to look as how you want. Anyway, this reporter claims that when he took his daughter, more than likely he took her closer to the Christmas holiday. When he took his daughter to go shopping at the American Girl store in the Rockefeller Center, he could not find one white doll that looked like his daughter because too wokeified for him. Okay?
With American Girls. I took my 6-year-old to the store in Rockefeller Center, like the American Girl experience. And, you know, typically girls that are into American Girls, they get a doll that looks like them, and you can get an outfit that, you know, so you can match your doll. We were in there, and my daughter's just a cute little 6-year-old white girl. We couldn't find anybody that looked like my daughter. It was, the whole place, it was like wokeified. It was kind of a bizarre experience.
It was like wokeified. It was kind of a bizarre experience.
So with it being so wokeified, he couldn't find a white doll for his daughter. He described his daughter, little 6-year-old white girl, and she can't find a doll. It's so wokeified up in here. I can't find a doll that looked like my daughter. Really, dude? Wokeified? So that's the terminology that you want to use. So I didn't know if he was using this terminology to be sarcastic. 9 times out of 10, he was trying to be smart alecky about it, snarky. He wasn't doing it to be down. He wasn't doing it to be cool. He was more than likely just doing it to be a jerk off. Okay? And he kept describing his daughter. Dude, you're a NewsMax reporter. We know what NewsMax supports, who they support politically. I think we can all say it's safe to assume that your daughter is white. We figured that out. You don't have to keep stressing that she's white. He was pretty much, you know, putting blame where it didn't belong. I am currently getting a Pleasant Company American Girl doll back again. If you remember 2 years ago, when I filmed myself going to the American Girl store in Fairfax County, out in Tyson's Corner. And I took my Addie doll, my Pleasant Company Addie doll that I had since the 90s, to get her repaired. I'm thinking, you know, she was just going to come back with a new wig. I didn't think they were going to change her head and all that stuff until they told me after the fact. And by the time they told me that, I had already gave them my doll and she was already off. I didn't realize till after the fact you can remove the wig and put a new wig on, which I've seen Selena, or Selena's Elegant Dolls. I've seen her give American Girl dolls makeovers, you know, things like that. So with that being said, you know, I kind of felt sad when I got my Addie doll back because she didn't seem like my Addie doll. And my mom talked about how significantly smaller she seemed. She kept stating that, I think they gave you a new doll. I don't think this is your Addie doll. So I kind of felt conned by American Girls in a way. And I even asked them if I could, when I was, you know, getting a status on her, if there's any way possible that they can give me her head, her Pleasant Company head, so I could just archive it. And they came up with some bullshit reason telling me they can't give it back to me. Really? So with that being said, long story short, even when I went to the Tyson's Corners American Girl store, I saw nothing but white dolls.
New York City at the American Girl store to see if I can find a white girl doll. Do you guys have like white dolls? Where are the white ones?
What do you mean
just like little white dolls. Okay, the literal first doll that you see when you walk into the store. Okay, yeah, there's just literally unlimited white dolls in here. Not only is there a white doll here, but there's a dancing animated white doll. They got a white doll playing basketball. They're definitely throwing in some other races, but I would say that a great portion of the dolls are white, actually.
I don't understand how, even though it's a melting pot and it caters to all people, but you can also tell it caters to a main demographic. So I find it hard to believe that Rob Finnerty took his daughter to the American Girl store and she couldn't find not one white doll. But when you walk into the store, you're surrounded by white dolls first before you see any other doll. You're sitting here talking about there are no white dolls for your daughter and that it's so wokeified. I kind of find that hard to believe. Here's my theory. I think Rob Finnerty's daughter asked him a million gazillion times to take him to the American Girl store. He kept making excuses, he kept making promises, and he kept breaking his promises to her. I mean, you can't be that damn busy. I understand parents work, you have a life and all this other stuff, you have to work. You can't be that damn busy to spend time with your kid. But take time to do what you want to do for yourself. You had ample time to take her to the American Girl store where she could find a doll that she wanted. She probably had her eyes set on a particular doll. You know, you waited too long and you waited closer to as the holiday was getting nearer. Of course she's not going to find what she wants because more than likely other children, other families bought the dolls and it was sold out. So when she went to the Rockefeller Center, she didn't find that doll because the doll wasn't there. And you're putting blame on the American Girl company for your mishap when you had ample time to take her to do what you needed to do. She went there and tried to look for her doll. The doll wasn't there. And now you're sitting up here on NewsMax crying your white, fragile, entitled tears. How it's so wokeified and I can't find a doll that looks like my daughter. Dude, there are plenty of white dolls in there. Even Manny Fidel showed that. There are plenty of white dolls. Maybe your daughter wasn't into those dolls because those weren't the dolls she wanted. Did you ever think of that? Maybe she had her eyes and heart set on a doll that she really wanted, but the doll was no more because it sold out because your ass took too long to take her shopping to get the doll that she wanted. That's no one's fault but yours. Dude, you're blaming the wrong person. The problem was you. It's not the store. The problem was you took too damn long. And there's a part in American Girls, there's like a little computer kiosk thingy where you can go and, I don't know, personalize the doll to look exactly like your daughter. That's what you could have done. But I also read you have a son. I'm pretty sure you take your son to the toy store and you splurge and do things with him. So why not the same thing with your daughter? When you are a girl's dad, that's happens. Like, not every girl, granted, plays with dolls or likes them. But a great deal of them do, like dolls, like tea parties, like stuff like that. Okay? It happens. So suck it up and just deal with it. She had her eyes and heart set on one doll that she could not find because more than likely the doll was sold out. Okay? And you're sitting here crying as if you're the minority. When have you ever heard in the history of time of white dolls selling out? You never have. Because they made more than enough white dolls that all over the country, in the continent of Africa, in Asia, all over, that minority in Latin America, that little minority girls are playing with white dolls. Because there are not enough dolls of color out here. They're now getting into making more dolls of color to accommodate people, which I think is very nice. Because yes, representation matters. I'm not mad that you want your daughter to play with a white doll. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not mad that you want that for her. But the fact is, you're putting blame where it doesn't belong. You took too long. And she wasn't able to get the doll that she wanted. Okay? And you didn't want to put in time for her to personalize her own kind of doll that, gee, resembled her. That's your fault. That's your fault, dude. You took too long. It's just your entitlement. And it's sickening. Okay? It's sickening. Hopefully your daughter doesn't grow up to have your mindset. I pray to God she doesn't. Anyway, folks, this is Baby Doll Soaps and Things signing off. I'm going home. Ciao.